Hello, everyone. This is Tal Bev Stormweaver with Tal Talks, and today we're going to be talking about old school Mando stuff. And with me, I have my expert panel.
I'm Jag O.R. Natre. I've been trooping for 7 years in the Mandalorian Mercs. And that's it.
Alrighty, well, I am Adinla. I have been a Mandalorian for the last 10 years. Actually, a month ago, hit my 10-year anniversary, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm from the North Texas area, helped get Clan Moran founded back in the day, and never held a position, but I've been around the block. I've helped a lot of new people get started and encouraged and seen them through.
And I'm Balin. I've been a member of the Mandalorian Mercs for 10.5 years. I was actually a founding member of Clan Moran. I was actually the second Merc in Texas. I'm currently the Alarad of Gurek clan, and I love what I do.
What are the biggest changes you, as an old school Mando, have seen in the club?
Well, obviously, a club that has been around since 2007 has had to make many changes to adapt to how the things that we're based off of, the franchises and everything that we're based off of, have also grown and changed in the last, 15 some odd years. Just for instance, when I got involved around 2008, 2009, I would say everything was a lot more relaxed. It was a very easy club to get into.
I don't know if I would say easy, but it wasn't.
Well, bear in mind, I got approved with arm wraps and no kind of hard shell, gauntlets.
But you still had to meet requirements. It was,
I didn't. Requirements.
I
yes.
didn't have. So that's probably one of the bigger changes is the fact that our CRL guidelines have changed. To kind of talk about that, I mean, when I got approved, I didn't have knees. They weren't required at the time.
And when the 3D printing came out, everybody had 3D printed images on their things, and then that changed to where they didn't want to see 3D imaging on, so we had to fix that.
Mm-hmm. That's
so
a
what
big
I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is a lot around requirements, like our actual kits, which is what we call our gear. And that I've heard CRLs, which is the rules that guide our costumes. So I've heard those two things, that those are your biggest sort of like immediate changes in the club.
That's right. Well, just in general, like it starts with the CRLs, but the club overall has had to adapt. There have been rules and policies. There was a point in time where, we're Mandalorians. We obviously carry weapons, and we like to pose in pictures with people, so sometimes we like to aim the weapons. Well, I remember there was a time when suddenly, that was a no-no. Please don't point your weapons at the camera,
Still is.
Still is, for safety reasons. I've seen a lot of progress towards making, enforcing policies to make sure that the public that we interact with is safer, and more importantly, that the ones in costume are safer.
Well, I think ultimately what this kind of circles back to is that Star Wars belongs to Lucasfilm and to Disney, and it's their universe, and they let us play in it because we do charity for children. So ultimately,
well, one of the things I like about the club is, like, I've gone to different states, and you're accepted. When they know you're an OM, or even UM, you're accepted into the clan, whatever clan you're in, whoever town you're in or whatever, and it's let's just go play, and then after we're gonna go eat, and just keep hanging out, and everybody checks in on each other. Yeah, like you said, it's a big family, my clans, when I first came in, there were 2 clans, and in my area in Seattle, and then people drifted off, and it just became it it wasn't what's the word for not a clan?
Stronghold?
Stronghold.
Stormhold. Yeah, it was more of a stormhold as far as how many people were actually participating and getting out, and then it grew back up. So sometimes that's how things go. People go away and new people come in, and
So
Definitely.
oh,
I was just gonna say, I am the last remaining one here in Clan Moran from our starting days. Malin passed that torch along to me when he moved up to Seattle. We have another member who moved up to Lubbock in the Panhandle, but he is in a different clan now. So, and actually, I think I was approved before he was. I think he was number 8, maybe. Anyways, I was the 7th one approved, and 1 through 6 have all either left the club or they've gone to another state or what have you. So I have definitely seen a lot of people coming and going. It's been in waves, and especially now, there is a massive surplus of people. I can't imagine why.
It's almost like there was like a TV show
Almost
dedicated to
like
what
there
we
was
do.
something that you can stream from home now, and nobody's working anymore, so they've got all this free time to watch. Yeah.
It's the craziest thing.
so actually, I'd like to explore that a little bit. So back in the before days, because we're all,
I think you're going the same place I was about to.
we're all old school. I want you, by a show of hands, to tell me how many people called you Darth Vader, a stormtrooper, or yeah.
Darth Vader in his Sturm guy.
guys.
yeah, the young kids always come because most of my kid is really black or all black and then the silver trim, and the little kids all come up to me and say, "It's Darth Vader, hi Darth Vader," and then maybe the little older kids are like, "Oh, you must be from Death Watch," Then the others are like they either are intimidated by me or they just like, "Hey, you look cool,"
My favorite.
What's your favorite? Oh, Balin, I want to hear your favorite.
So my original kit, and Adela can attest to this. So my original kit was red and copper, and the first event we ever did, I don't even think you were at it, but the first event we ever did, and I heard this a lot, was I didn't get called a Storm Guy or Darth Vader. I got one of the more common was Power Ranger. But with my red and copper, because the outside of the T was copper and all red, I got called Iron Man on a regular basis.
Yep, because that was right when Marvel's movies were starting to come out.
That would have been the time frame. So now, though, with this onset of our own amazing validation show, people know what we are. So has anybody else? I know we've done a few events since it's come out. So I want to hear how that has kind of influenced your trooping. How's that changed things?
I don't know that it's changed anything, but you can't take your helmet off in public without somebody coming up and saying, "Oh, you took your helmet off. You're out of the clan now. You can't." That's annoying.
We have ways to respond to that, but you bring up a point with the show of, when I started doing this, we had 2 real canon visual references for Mandalorians. We had Jango and Boba. There were some stuff from the comics, the old comics from the 80s.
Yep.
But those were really just I know who they are, but they were really just recolored Bobas for the comics. We started getting a little bit more with some of the Republic Commando novels. But again, it wasn't a visual. The only thing that 90% of the public knew was Boba and Jango. And then when Clone Wars came out and they did the story arc, then now we have Death Watch.
Yeah, the new Mandalorian story arc.
And we don't talk about the new Mandalorians.
I'm just telling you that's the official story arc name.
Yes, I know. But then you had the Death Watch, and then Rebels came along, and that was the first time that we truly saw referenced visually in a medium that was exposed to everybody, that the fact that we're not all just Boba and Jango or Death Watch. You have clans, and there was one scene in one of the episodes of Rebels where you had probably 200 Mandalorians each one was differently colored, differently painted, and for me it was like looking at one of our celebration photos, where you have 300 Mandos and
Yes.
no two are alike. Even if they have the same color scheme,
Yep.
they're entirely different. And it was just one of those. That was my personal moment of, we made it. And
Yeah.
then I know when the show came on, I know that really hit because it was the first time we had, other than Boba and Django, in live action. And that was huge for us. It was validation for us.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
those of
Well,
us that put that T-visor on for years.
and to respond to the fact that in the new show that he does not remove his helmet, we have a ton of canon references that are still canon where they remove their helmets. Where
Yeah, he's
Mando,
Reformed. We're Orthodox.
that's the joke is, and it could be that that's the tradition of his clan. And one of the things I think that they're shaping in this show, and I think they're doing a beautiful job because, bless the makers of that show, and I say that having gotten to meet some of them, that they embraced sort of the cultural idea of what it means to be a Mando. And they loved it so much that they wanted to do their take on it. But that's just what it is. It's another canon version of a particular chapter, I think, in sort of the Mando universe.
Yeah, and
So,
we've got 8 episodes,
yeah.
We've got 8 more or hopefully more coming, and it's going to get expanded. We're going to see how it evolves. So I'm excited.
I am too. This is an exciting time to be a Mando. When you talk about the never-ending change of things, like I remember when, like Shea Vizsla was all we had for those of us who were girls. Like that was it, and you had to really search for her tiny line art like back in the day.
Or when Rav Braylor action figure was put out. We've got how many people based their kits on that?
A lot.
Yeah.
Because it was the only female physical reference that we had.
Yep.
In modern style armor.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to see like the changes, and I think we're going to be blessed with more, hopefully, just more and more. So,
I mean, I can say that because I've held numerous officer positions within the club.
mm-hmm.
I've held at the clan level. I've been and I'll use the non-Mercs terms to make it easier for people. I've been the sergeant at arms. I've been the executive officer. I've been the commanding officer. I've been the commanding officer at the regional level.
Mm-hmm.
I've held the regional sergeant at arms. I've held everything from the highest level at the region down.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen, as a result of that, I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes changes. A lot of the things, like when we started this club, it was a costume club.
Mm-hmm.
And then we became a 501c7, which
mm-hmm.
is a fraternal organization. And then we evolved, and now to the point that we're now a C4, which bears tax implications, but it affects who we are, what we do, from some of those policies and procedures that Adenla referred to earlier. Some of that comes from how we're structured as an organization. I've seen how they've changed the command structure of clans, when Tal Bev and I started, and the Alarad, the commanding officer, was the only elected position at the clan level.
Yeah.
Now that executive officer is also elected, and is elected separately from, it's not, we're all on one ticket. You elect each position individually, and that has changed how the clan is run. In most cases, I think it's for the better. Or at least not for the negative. I think, with anything, anytime you have any change, there's always going to be that one standout that causes difficulty. But, the club is continuing. I just made up a new word. Continuing, which is continually evolving. And do I agree with every change that's happened? Of course not. But do I think that every change that's come through has been made with the best interest of the club in mind? Absolutely. I'm Balin Halon, and you're not. Thanks for watching.
Perfect. Thank you for watching Tal Talks. This is Tal Bev Stormreaver signing off.